This absolute dork is fighting back against fascism one day at a time. We have to see what's going on fascism-wise throughout the world. Japan just won a landslide victory in the recent elections that straight up destroyed the, like, they could rewrite the constitution of Japan. The victory was so big, massive right-wing victory, deporting people, rolling them up like sushi and throwing them away. Europe is in complete and utter shambles, falling apart, and America is making believe, is making believe that leftism is not cancer. So anyway, this is Hassan Piker on the front lines, fighting for hope, truth, and the American way, and literally cosplaying as a human in the most inauthentic cosplay I've ever seen. All right, this is every detail carefully choreographed. It's crazy. He looks like he's a revolutionary. Right? Bro's got the Russian hat. He's got the keffiyeh. Not a trem of dust. All right, the buttonholes on his coat were never used. Unbelievable. He's got the turtleneck with the black hoodie under it. It's incredible. It's incredible. No plates. The press vest that he got from Amazon. Gloves with Velcro that was never closed. He got the tags hanging out of his pants. Bro, literally, he's showing the tear gas label to the camera. This is the most inauthentic fucking guy of all time. All right, like, it's unbelievable. It's incredible. Limousine liberal cosplay. Absolute cinema. Anyway, so while America is making believe that we are living in some sort of constitutional crisis because, thank God, Donald J. Trump wants to deport every single legal alien in the country, they all need to go. Every single one of them. That's what we gotta say. All right. We have quite the day on our hands. Democrats push a new hoax. They fear body cameras will be ICE's new mass surveillance tool. That's right. Now, remember when they were all for body cameras? When George Floyd committed suicide by fentanyl, and then everyone started committing suicide by cop, and now they're like, no, wait, hold up. Body cameras are actually not really good because they're dispelling the narratives that we're trying to make believe we're peaceful when we kill you. God damn it. We're mostly peaceful people trying to murder you, and I really can't stand the fact that you're noticing that we're not peaceful at all. We're radicals, all right? Just because we don't believe in thou shalt not murder in the 10 Commandments, that doesn't make us not having empathy. I have empathy for the foreign rapists that rape our children. They need a better life. All right, so anyways, that's what these guys are trying to do. Now, this is the real reason the left doesn't want ICE to wear body cameras is because Black Lives Matter ended, all right? The whole Black Lives Matter movement was the idea that, police brutality. The police are just so racist. They're racist. They're just mowing people down in the streets. And then, the police started wearing body cameras, and it's like, no, actually, that's actually not the case. That's literally actually not the case. I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude here, but that's what we're actually seeing. All right, every single body camera footage completely debunked them. So this is the major reason why people are very upset about body cameras these days, because it turns out the victim card arc is over. All right, now we have to make believe we're caring about libtards that commit suicide by cop. All right, so anyway, like, the funniest thing is, so Kamala Harris out here, she's running her campaign. She's becoming the next president, of course, she thinks, and it's incredible. This is her trying to explain why she's against photo ID. Now, I'll explain before she does. The real reason why leftists don't want photo ID is because they want illegals to steal more elections, because they've already successfully stolen a bunch. So they're still trying to steal elections. That's what they're trying to do. It's a gigantic plan where the Democrat elite brings in infinite retards to steal elections, and then they make believe that it's not about stealing elections, so they convince their retarded NPC hoodlums on the ground to commit suicide by cop for their campaign of insanity. All right, so this is her explaining why they need photo ID.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you support? I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove you are who you are. Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's. There's no Office Max near them. People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws,
bro,
be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are.
Hello? Nothing. What are we talking about? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Of course, people have to prove who they are.
Right.
But not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
Yeah, so she was almost president of the United States. She's currently the front runner of the leftoids for running for president again. All right, like, she does this, and like all the 68 IQ Somalians eating bananas with rice immediately were like, holy shit, she has a point. Oh my god. We have to have them prove who they are, but not in a way where they can't prove who they are. which is having ID. All right, so yeah. Anyway, so you know, it's absolutely brutal. It's brutal, as they say. This is the saddest shit I've ever seen. So the left is losing their mind. This is Wajahat Ali. He was I'm pretty sure like on the Washington Post or one of these. Like he's a famous reporter. All right, again another example of a radical leftoid foreigner coming in from another country and talking about how he wants to destroy immigration law.
You've lost. You have lost. You lost. The mistake that you made is you let us in the first place. See, that's the thing with brown people. I'm going to say this as a brown person. There's a lot of us. Like a lot. There's like 1.2 billion in India. There's more than 200 million in Pakistan. There's like 170 million in Bangladesh. Those are just the people there. I'm even talking about the folks who are expats or immigrants. There's a bunch of us. And we breed. We're a breeding people.
True.
And the problem is you let us in 1965. There were a few of us beforehand. But once you let one of us in, you know what happens with brown folks? Our grandmother comes, our grandfather comes, our uncle comes, our aunt comes, our cousin comes, our second cousin comes, our third cousin comes. Then we have kids, a bunch of kids. And then guess what? Some white women, you know, the Western civilization women, the pure women, the American women, quote unquote, the Rust Belt women, the real women, they like some of us brown folks. We don't take them. They come to us.
Yeah, so this is what they call the quiet part out loud. Scary as that sounds, this is literally the quiet part out loud. Insane. This guy is a journalist. Okay, this isn't just some random guy on TikTok. This is a leftist journalist. All right, so this dude straight up, you know, he wants to say, he literally says directly, we're coming to conquer you. And your big mistake was letting in any of us. You make a good argument, all right? It's not too late to rectify our wrongs. Yeah, so he's like, yo, you need to bring us in from the inbred parts of the world so that we can continue reproducing with our cousins. Yeah, now, again, leftists probably have empathy for people that come to try to rape us, but I personally think that I don't, actually. See, leftists are pro-rape and I'm anti-rape. It's my stance in politics. And I'm sure that someone's going to say, no, I'm a leftist, but I'm anti-rape, but I just want all the rapists to come into our country and not need to deport them. So, you know, like, you could say that you're anti-rape while you defend the rapists, but I personally don't actually believe you, honestly. Yeah, so anywho, this is a guy literally saying what it is. Whites, you already lost. You took us in. We're breeding. We import people. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks, dude, for saying the quiet part out loud. Meanwhile, the 911 operator in Cincinnati is allegedly doxing ICE agents. Like, bro, we have people are fighting against our country. These people need to go to jail. She, her, Hadley Davis over here needs to go to jail for this. All right. And I'm tired of making believe it's decent and okay and a human right to do this. It's not. All right. Quite literally, we elected Donald Trump, president of the United States, to deport every single illegal alien. Every single one of them has to go. If you don't like that, you could cry and complain. If you obstruct justice, you're a terrorist and you should go to jail for a decade. All right. Best case scenario. All right. There is an argument to be made to drone strike you. I personally don't want that to happen. I would not make that argument. I do not want that to happen. 10 years in jail would be very cool, though. I would support that completely. But Noxie, she's just making a tweet. Don't care. Don't be a terrorist next time, is my opinion. All right, don't be a traitor to the American people. All right, the retards are coming out. All right, on all shapes and sizes. You got woke police chiefs. You got woke journalists. You got woke celebrities pushing this nonsense. Yeah, we're gonna get to Japan. We're gonna get to Europe in just a second because I want to show you what America was on the road to becoming under Biden.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. You know, some very rich old white men are exerting their power to suppress our own people, thus creating a feeling of civil war in the streets, preparing the haters to hate, teaching them how to shoot. They're not even trained right, to kill. This is all a preparation for a very insidious problem that's happening in our world. And for me, I have to speak out that we will not be iced out. This is not going to happen. They can't take us all down.
Looks like orcs back on the menu, boys.
If the whole world showed up on Putin's doorstep or on the Iranians' doorstep or in Washington, it would they'll kill 550 million, however, but the rest of us would survive with this is time for a revolution.
This fucking rich asshole, all right? He's in America, living the best possible fucking privileged ass lifestyle, multimillionaire in his mansion, telling the peasants to go and die. Die protesting. I don't care if 50 million of you die. That is a price I am willing to pay. A sacrifice I am willing to make. Let 50 million of you go die on the steps of the White House. Because I'll live. I'll survive.
It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting.
Yeah, so anyway, very cool. Thanks, bro. It's insane. So, again, another example of we bring in a foreigner, all right? Think about how insane this is, all right? We have a police chief that decides that, she's gonna, dox ICE agents and commit acts of terror, all right? We have journalists that directly say, we're here to conquer you, all right? Your mistake was letting us in. We have actors. This is the most privileged fucking life. And the fact that he's wearing, like, the fedora and the shawl and, like, the three-piece suit, like, this guy looks like the Hunger Games, like rich guys in the Hunger Games. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the craziest thing in the world. Like, he's literally looks like the lords from the Korean Squid Games. He looks like the Squid Games guy. Like, it's insane. All right, so you have this dude over here talking about how it's time for revolution that can't kill us all. What the fuck, dude? It's crazy. All right, and it's not just that. All right, a foreigner. He's the biggest leftist Twitch streamer now, cosplaying a revolutionary, getting people to attack ICE officers. It's insane. All right, now the ICE rioters are turning on themselves. This is a classic example of two retards fighting. Anti-ICE rioters turned on each other in Minneapolis because they're afraid that each other guy is secretly working for the fascist state. And they're throwing dildos at each other. Bro, they're throwing dildos at each other. He's like, no, I'm one of you. I'm one of you. He's like, I'm a protester just like you guys. And they're all throwing dildos at him. This is amazing. I'm on your side, he's yelling. Dude, I love this. I love this. You know what, honestly? Fuck you, you deserve it. No, I don't feel bad for you that your own people are eating you alive. Nope, don't care. Do not care. Nope. Oops. Yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this so much. All right, yeah, the gayest protesters of all time. We have protesters in Iran dying by the tens of thousands fighting against their fascist regime. All right, now you have these retards throwing dildos at each other. It's honestly incredible stuff. It really is. Remember, they bring children to these protests. I know. No, this is amazing. I love that they're turning on each other. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit dark. I'm a religious man, all right? I believe in the Bible. I believe it's the Word of God. Repentance is something that exists in Scripture. And therefore, if you make a mistake, you could repent. And you will be forgiven by other people that believe in this. Repentance does not exist on the left. You cannot ever repent on the left. All right? This is a very, very terrifying concept. Leftism, the reason why there's a purity test spiral forever is because they quite literally don't have this concept of forgiving, repenting, of anything like that. So, quite literally, they hate each other for just barely existing. And that's why cancel culture exists. That's why they'll bully each other so much. That's why if you have one opinion that's slightly different than all the other ones, they'll kill you for it. Because repentance is a completely foreign concept on the left. And it's honestly insane. Unbelievable and insane. So this is... Yeah, this is a mental illness, throwing dildos at each other, even though they're on the same side. Now, this is Gene Wu. I showed this in a previous video, but I had to show it again. All right, this is a representative, a Democrat representative, Gene Wu. Pay attention to what he says.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African-American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided.
Chinese retard over here shows up to get a better life in America, probably a CCP plant, to show up and be like, yo, we're starting to outnumber the whiteys. all right? Our collective oppressor, all right? Non-whites share the same oppressor. We're the majority. We could take over. Another example of a foreigner coming into our country to destroy our country, all right? And it's all of this. It's all these retards. It's unbelievable. So get radicalized. If this didn't radicalize you, I don't know what does. All right, 1 month into Mayor Mamdani's term, and New York looks like Uganda. Probably a coincidence. Probably a coincidence, everyone. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Now, don't forget that Zoran Mamdani recently had a little bit of a crash out. All right, I covered this in my previous video also, but it's super important to talk about this because I think that one of the craziest twists of our time is the fact that this shit is happening and not getting called out by the mainstream media. All right, pay attention to this.
The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina.
What happened in Medina after he showed up?
Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us,
all right,
as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, notice what he said before.
Who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina.
What happened in Medina after he showed up? Danny even know? Danny even know what happened in Medina right after Muhammad showed up? Why is he talking about Muhammad, New York City, and quoting the Quran in New York City? Great question. Great question. I don't know. It's a Christian country, so I find this weird. Do you know what happened after he showed up? He murdered all the Jews and turned Medina into a Muslim country. Did you know that? So, yes, I agree. The foreigners are doing what Muhammad is doing. You're so right, dude. Holy shit. Zoran Mamdani is so right. Damn, he makes a really good point. So, let's figure this out. He is saying that the foreigners need to be like Muhammad, welcomed into our country, so that they could kill us and make America a Muslim country. Just like Muhammad did to Medina. Crazy, crazy, I know. It's insane. It's wild. He just says it out loud. They all just say it out loud. It's insane how, like, brazen they are. Yeah, so this is New York City getting what they voted for.
But I see her.
Yep. Good job, guy. It looks like you did it. It looks like Uganda now. All right, this is a Democrat running for the governor in California.
And when I am governor, I will restore universal health care for all, including undocumented immigrants in the state of California.
That's fraud, by the way, all right? That means that our taxpayer dollars are going to people that invaded our country illegally. That is fraud. I love how these guys started off saying that it doesn't happen, they don't get, and then they were like, they do get, but it's not a big problem. And now they're directly saying this is the plan.
Because we know that healthcare is a right.
Healthcare is not a right. That's a lie. Anyway, so they all do this shit. Healthcare is a right. It's a human right. The term human rights have been, again, this is the left brutalizing language to use it to manipulate people. Homophobia. Bro, there's no fucking phobia for homos, okay? Get the fuck out of here, bro. All right? This is the classic communist manifesto in policy and also in language. Like, get out of here, bro. It's Islamophobia. Dog, it's not an irrational fear. All right? It's literally not an irrational fear. All right? So, quite literally, human rights is one of the most misused terms in modern America, in modern politics. All right? Okay, whatever. I feel like this is going to be a long discussion and a random tangent. But the actual reality check is there's no such thing as a human right. The only human right you have is free will. That is the only human right that you have. Free will. You have it by the fact that you exist. Okay? All right? That's the only human right you have. What we talk about in regards to human rights are basically just things that the government lets us do. All right? The government gives us the ability to have free speech, so therefore we call free speech a right. It's not a right. All right? And the fact of that is, if you go to England, you won't have free speech. So it's so obvious. It's not a human right. You know, it's thank God for America, the best country in the world. All right, but anyway, so they use these terms to manipulate you and destroy you. And they do this with everything. So anyway, transphobia. Dog, I'm not terrified that someone cut their cock off, okay? All right, let's be real here for a second. So anyway, so that's what these people do. Free healthcare to illegals.
Abolish ICE. We will create a pathway to citizenship. And right now I have legislation.
So he's saying that you can invade our country illegally, take our tax dollars, and become citizens to steal elections. That's what these people are running on. They are running on the destruction of our country.
It puts a tax on any single company in California that does business with ICE and ICE detention centers.
And also boycott American businesses that want to work with legal law enforcement that quite literally are heroes. And everyone that's anti-ICE is anti-America and pro-rape. That's my new stance, all right? I can't stand it. Everyone bullies people. You have to say fuck ICE. No. If you do say fuck ICE, you're pro-rape, because that means you don't want us to deport the rapists, which is crazy. So anyway, this is Minnesota State Representative Kayla Berg delivering groceries to illegals because they're so scared to leave their home.
So we just finished delivering groceries to folks who are too afraid to leave their homes because of this ICE occupation in our community. And
there's no occupation.
Amazing amount of people have put together boxes of produce and meat, as well as toilet paper and diapers for those that need it, dry goods.
Lady, if you know where they are, you should tell ICE so we can deport them quickly. I don't know what we're doing. I think you're a traitor to the United States of America.
Even some treats to help our neighbors.
Some bananas, some rice.
And we will continue to do this for as long as we need to.
Yeah, I love how these people are not actually delivering grocery stores to families who were stuck in hospitals, because that's pretty weird. You know how many people are in hospitals because they were hit by illegal alien drunk drivers? Or illegal aliens that got licenses and got into car accidents because they couldn't read English or street signs. All right, I love how we're not actually helping the people that are in the country paying taxes. Now the reality is, and the reason why I want to talk about this a lot, and the reason why we're bridging this into the European conversation, is because they're not dead, and some of them are dead, some of them are in hospitals. But now it's super important to talk about this. London is named world's best city for 2026. Interesting fun fact, there was a rape every 54 minutes in London in 2025. Now, this is, I think, a very important statistic for people to know, because once again, London has a lot of this immigration situation, and a rape happens every 54 minutes. It's not a coincidence either, which is why if you're anti-ICE, you're pro-rape, all right? And I really wish more people would actually have a conversation the way that we do here on this channel, where people send me death threats every single day. I personally feel like it's much more important to talk about it from this perspective, all right? If you're anti-ICE, you're pro-rape, all right? You need to lay out a binary, okay? All right? Best city of 2026, London, obviously. All right? Best city, if you're a rapist from the third world specifically, that's the best place for you. All right? Hell yeah, dude. Shabana Mahmoud could become the next first Muslim prime minister if Keir Starmer is to resign. I'm mentioning this because there is a big theory that Keir Starmer is going to resign within the next few days because, it turns out he elected this guy, Lord Mandelson, who was like besties with Jeffrey Epstein. So currently everyone's really blasting that guy a lot, and it looks like he's probably going to, stand down. If he does stand down, there is a very, very real chance that this is going to be the next prime minister of the UK, which means that's just it's another Muslim nation with nukes. It's honestly terrifying. It's honestly terrifying. Cultural enrichment via rape. Exactly. I'm glad we're on the same page. So this is happening in the United States, all right, on a much lower scale, because thank God most of our illegal immigrants are not specifically from these countries. I'm just saying it's a super important thing that you have to understand. All right, you have to recognize what we're actually dealing with, because this is just the next step. In the UK, a child at a primary school was branded a racist for refusing to take part in Ramadan. The child said, "Why do we have to do that? I'm not doing that. Do I have to? I don't. Will you make me?" The school responded, "This will be added to your child's behavior record and the school log of racist incidents." Because he didn't want to fast on Ramadan. What? England's a Christian nation. What is happening? This isn't even in a Muslim school. This is in a Bedfont primary school. This is a kid that doesn't want to fast on Ramadan. And he's branded a racist. And in the gigantic secret Sauron's eye, these people are going to, immediately, add it to the child's record. All right, what is this, Psychopaths? What is this, China? Like, this is insane. That just radicalized me a little more. Dude, I'm trying to make sure that my content radicalizes a couple of you guys. All right, I'm sure a lot of you already know about this. I'm sure a lot of you don't know about this. You need to get radicalized, and you need to get radicalized fast. All right, because this is happening really quickly, all right, in England. In England. We came from England in America, all right? Like, these people shared a value system with us super closely until 50 years ago? Maybe less? And look where they are now. Like, they're completely and utterly conquered. They're raped. They are completely raped. It's insane. Also, I think this is important to note. Islam is not a race. Islam is a ideology. All right? It's not racist to dislike an ideology where, for example, pedophilia is venerated. All right? As a hypothetical. All right? If Jeffrey Epstein was alive 1,400 years ago, he would have been a prophet in Saudi Arabia. Okay? I'm not trying to be controversial or anything. Islam is not a race. It is an ideology where they venerate pedophiles. That's a fact. Now, the reality is, this is insane. Complete and utter insanity. A Danish court convicted 2 Swedes. These are 2 Swedes, by the way. For terrorism, attempted murder, detonating hand grenades near the Israeli embassy in Copenhagen in 2024. The younger men, 2 men aged 18, was sentenced to 12 years in prison. The older, aged 21, 14 years. This just happened. The sentencing just happened. All right, this is just 2 Swedes, guys. They look very Swedish. They do look very Swedish. You're right. Now, Emmanuel Macron, Prime Minister of France, with an approval rating of 12% right now. All right, you have to understand what we're dealing with in the United Kingdom and in France and in all these Euro-cucked countries. An approval rating of 12% is a dictator. All right, if you are the president of a so-called democratic country with a 12% approval rating, you're just a dictator. All right, now you're probably gonna talk about exactly what. Let's see what he has to say. All right, he's probably gonna talk about illegal immigration and stuff like that. I've once again made gamers lose it. He's talking about video games, guys. He's talking about video games. I've seen a lot of misunderstandings, so let me be clear. The facts. I have always supported video games, pop culture, the industry, creation, culture, jobs. I've put French esports in the spotlight at the LSA and made commitments to structure the sector and attract major events to France, which we have done. All right. So he's pro-gamer. That's the first sentence, pro-gamer. All right, that's pretty good. We have awarded decorations to the sinful team, and even better, I support the participation of our teams. List of teams. The creation of French national team around video games for a world competition. There are so many French gems that have global influence. We can be extremely proud of that. All right, so first half of the message. I love gamers. All right, that's pretty neutral. All right, what else we got? But, supporting an industry and culture does not prevent it to ask simple questions without caricature. What is the effect of certain contents and certain usages on the youngest? Oh, here we go. Video games are making school shooters. Here we go again. Parents' observation is some young people spend their days and sometimes their nights playing. It has often been pointed out that the games rated PG-18 are played by children. Oh my god. This is a major issue of public health, education, responsibility. Motherfucker. Muslims are raping people in your streets, and you're blaming video games that white people are playing. Okay. For physical health, especially in the eyes, and mental health, when a young person no longer goes out at all because of play excessively, of course it is worrying. We must take it seriously. What I announce on Brute is a response to that teacher who is shouting our anger. It's not a ban on video games, it is a launch of a scientific collective work to look reality in the face, calmly, lucidly, and with all the stakeholders involved. It is our responsibility to ask researchers, scientists, clinicians, oh my god, to assess the impacts, untangle received ideas, share light on the public debate. This is what I am doing. I am opening a serious, informed, and calm debate, which I want to keep far from shortcuts. One can love video games, be proud of them, and at the same time, look without taboo at certain practices and their effects. This is the gayest shit I've seen in my entire life. All right? And then he drops this meme. Oh shit, here we go again. This is the gayest thing ever. 26,000 likes, 5.5 million views. All right, bro got ratioed to oblivion. Did you even beat Expedition 33? Great question, Asmongold. Great question. That game was incredible. So yeah, anyway, so this is an absolute nightmare. All right? It is not the fact that we are importing inbred people from the third world with the culture that allows them to rape us on an industrial scale that increases the violence. Video games are radicalizing the people. So yeah, so anyway, that's why everyone hates Emmanuel Macron. Bro is a gigantic pussy. It's crazy. He has a bigger pussy than his wife. It's unbelievable. Now, speaking of France, we got to talk about how video games are radicalizing people. All right, so this is a Muslim guy in France, probably radicalized by video games. Throwing a grenade. All right, throws a grenade into a restaurant, slams the door. All right, he starts running away from the restaurant. A lot of other people leave the restaurant as a grenade goes off in the restaurant. Yeah. It's probably video games. It's probably video games. Masked youth threw grenade into a beauty salon in Grenoble, France, injuring 6 people, including a 5-year-old child. But video games are the problem. Video games are the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. It's too much COD that is getting Muslims to throw grenades into shops in France. It is Call of Duty that is at fault. But grenades are illegal in France. How did he even get one? What do you mean? Isn't it good that they banned guns and banned grenades? Isn't that nice? Wow, they really solved that problem. Yeah, so anyway, this is just a classic example of Europe killing itself nice and slow. All right, now let's not forget what else is going on in France. So France, this is incredible. Jihadis threatened to burn down the Notre Dame church in Paris unless authorities release Ibrahim Alissaoui, who killed 3 French people. So, radical Muslim kills 3 French people. Okay. Goes to jail, for killing 3 French people. Muslim jihadis release videos threatening to terrorize the country because French people...
نطالب الحكومة الفرنسية بإطلاق سراح أخينا إبراهيم العيساوي. إذا لم يتم إطلاق سراحه
if he's not set free, God's wrath will be upon you and the people of France. Yada yada. They'll burn Notre Dame Cathedral. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It sounds like video games are increasing violence. Video games are radicalizing the French, one day at a time. That's right, absolutely. All right, now we got to talk about how France decides to solve this issue. Because obviously, a lot of people are really upset at France, right? Because, France is destroying their country and stuff. Right? So, this is very bad. Voltorb is a favorite culture of certain religions, you should know. Now, the reality is, very important, super important to note, France is coming back, and they are combating this issue.
Je mets aux voix la proposition de loi dans son intégralité.
They're promoting a proposition.
Qui est pour?
Who is for the proposition? Most people. Do you know what the proposition is, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what it is. Is it to halt migration? Is it to hold a new election? Is it to immediately hold a new election? Is it to maybe get Macron, a guy with a 12% approval rating, removed from power? France voted to move forward to a proposal to allow non-French citizens to vote in elections. This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This is insane. This is the most radicalizing fucking thing ever. And by the way, let me remind you, they would do this in America too. It's the same globalist cabal ideology ever. All right? So, and of course, you know who votes? Politicians vote. It's not the people that vote. The people can't vote. You can't vote your way out of this anymore. The left won. France is conquered. You've fallen. All right? It's actually over. Breaking France. So yeah, this is actually happening. New achievement. 4th world country. All right? Why did we say France in World War II, bro? Like this is the saddest shit of all time. It's so over. It's so over. It's so over. Like I could talk about this forever, but this might be the most tragic shit of all time. You can't vote your way out of this because no matter who you vote, you're just going to put more politicians in their little assembly that vote to let illegal aliens vote in elections. So that's the plan. They got into power, they import infinite retards, they let the infinite retards vote, and the French people suffer. And that's exactly what they're doing. But video games are the problem, according to Macron. All right, now let's talk about other European countries because people don't realize how bad it is. All right, people that are like, I don't know if ICE is doing things the right way. You need to know what we're turning into without ICE. All right, what we're turning into without mass deportations. All right, this is in Finland, I believe, right? Yeah, this is the Finnish parliament. This is going to radicalize the fuck out of you.
What Bible verse did you post that caused you to be criminally prosecuted?
She was in jail for, I think, 8 years, was it? I think 8 years. 6 years. She was in jail for 6 years for tweeting a Bible verse. Are we on the same page? In a Christian country. All right, this isn't in fucking Qatar, all right? She tweeted a Bible verse and was in jail for 6 years.
Thank you. It was from the book of Romans, 1st chapter, and verses 24 to 27.
Okay. And could you help me know why you chose that particular passage to post?
The Apostle Paul teaches in these verses about the marriage and about the same-sex relationships, and he defines them as sinful and shameful.
And what message were you trying to convey in that?
I wanted to make it clear that if the leadership of the church is supporting the Pride event, it is in contradiction with its basis, the Bible.
Facts, no lies detected.
Okay.
True.
And after you post...
But also, who fucking cares? Why can't she not post Bible verses? Who cares? What she's getting... They're arresting her on a thought crime? Bro, she should have tweeted a Quran verse about executing gay people. All right, what are we even talking about? This is insane.
Posted the Bible verse, if I understand correctly, you were charged under Finland's war crimes and crimes against humanity law.
She was charged for crimes against humanity for posting a Bible verse. Oh my God, dude. And they call America fascism. They call America fascist. Oh my God. This is a nightmare.
Yes, we have in that section, we have a law about agitation against minorities.
Wow. Well, as a pastor for 37 years now myself, to think of someone that can be criminally charged for posting a Bible verse in the EU and NATO country worries me deeply. And as you've already heard from this panel today, God bless you. God bless you for coming here today to share your story. And my prayer is that it causes people to wake up to the threats that we are facing from those who seek to undermine our God-given right to free expression.
And also our God-given values, all right? Free expression, sure, whatever. Absolutely we need free expression. But our value system is being corrupted. She was in jail for 6 years for crimes against humanity because she tweeted a verse from the Bible that made a gay person offended. I don't fucking care if I offended a gay person. I don't care if I offended any person. I can't quote the Bible without going to jail? Excuse me? What? This is absolute insanity. You're not allowed to have moral clarity, all right? Because we will put you in jail since we disagree with your opinion. Unbelievable. They hate you and they hate God. And this is what they're doing in our country too. Unbelievable. The Democrats will have America like this if you let them. This is a fact, by the way. They actually will. They'll call it incitement of violence of some sort. Oh my God. All right. And these are the people that we're bringing into our country. Pakistan gives Muslim kidnapper custody of 13-year-old Christian girl. What? Judges reject parents' proof of girl's birth certificate showing her age. Oh, that's nice. You know how old this is an old story, guys. It's an old story. Psych. This happened last week. This happened February 5th, 2026. This is still happening now. Pakistan court gives Muslim kidnapper custody of a 13-year-old Christian girl? Read this title. These are the people we're importing. These are the people we're importing into our country. All right? Oh my God. I think the youngest victim of Jeffrey Epstein was 14. All right? This is the judge, not just a radical, perverted fucking retard like Jeffrey Epstein. May he rot in hell. All right? Not that guy. All right? This is industrialized. Oh, he only kidnapped and raped a 13-year-old Christian, so he can keep her now. Oh, that's nice. That's awesome. All right. These are other refugees, right? The Gaza refugees everyone keeps talking about. So this is a Gazan woman asked, what does she think about Hamas?
Occupation.
Hamas is no problem as long as they wipe the Jews off the map. And then someone corrects him, no, you mean Israel. Oh, yeah, Israel. Oh, yeah, I meant Israel. Oh my God, dude. Unbelievable. So these are the people we're importing. Big smile, though. These are the people we're importing. All right? Man arrested after Melbourne church catches fire. Oh, it just caught fire, guys. It just caught fire. A guy named Mohammed happened to be there lighting it on fire. And it caught fire all by itself. Absolutely. Yep, we're definitely getting better. Now, Let's not forget what's going on in Pakistan right now also. A blast hit a Shiite Muslim mosque in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, during Friday prayers. 31 killed in the explosion, 169 injured, and it's literally a non-story, bro. It's a no one's even talking about it because it's like, yeah, all right, they bombed each other in a mosque. All right, and it's crazy. Muslims kill Muslims. No one gives a fuck. 500,000 Pakistanis were deported from 134 countries since 2012. Think about that. 500,000 Pakistanis deported. And we're still importing more of them. Oh my God. And the craziest thing is, they say it openly. This is Mohammed Hijab. He's like one of the major Muslim speakers in Europe.
Our numbers are massive. There's 50 million Muslims in Europe. There's more Muslims in Europe than there are in some Muslim majority countries. If all the Muslims in Europe were one country, it would be one of the biggest Muslim countries in the world.
Yeah.
That's the truth. If all the Muslims in Europe were one country, it would be in the top 10 or top 15 biggest Muslim countries in the world. It would be a big country. We're a big people. So that means we need to start acting like it. The Muslim community have to become...
We need to act like it.
The consequence. Make them think, okay, well, if we mess around with this community, what's going to happen? We have to start acting as if we have the upper hand, because we do. وَكَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ هِيَ الْعُلْيَا, as the Quran says.
We come in here infinitely with migration, and then we make believe that you guys are super nice, and thank you for welcoming us, and we preach to your values while we're the minority, and once we become a majority, all of a sudden, we don't care about your values anymore, and we rape you.
The word of Allah, it's high. The reason why the Salaf, the early generations, were so successful in spreading Islam across the world was because they had this immense amount of courage backed by this immense amount of tawakkul.
Because they would murder and massacre people that rejected them, is what he meant to say probably.
Which means reliance on Allah. You realize that, look, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, and it is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. Concept of
anyway.
Martyrdom.
Then
I would consider that to be an advantage, frankly.
That's right. Islam has an advantage because they're willing to die for the cause. Now, fun fact, he's allowed to say stuff like this, obviously, in, lack of free speech in England. But he's currently broke. He just lost a defamation lawsuit. It's pretty insane. And honestly, there's just unbelievable amount of insane shit going on in the world. All right? A Muslim extremist set fire to the Coptic Christian neighborhood in Cairo, Egypt. I don't know, man. It's just many such cases. It's crazy, dude. This just happened in Nigeria. I felt like I should talk about it. Muslims demanded villagers accept Sharia law, and they murdered 170 people when they refused. These villagers are Christians, obviously. There was just a massacre of 170 Christians in Nigeria. February 7th, all right? So, just happened. No one even knows about it because it's such commonplace. But we're importing these guys, all right? We're importing them. Like, you have to understand what we're fighting against, all right? This is a Muslim Brotherhood TV host explaining under which circumstances Christian girls could be raped.
لكن لما الإسلام جه بقى نظمه بإيه؟ إن لا يكون إلا عن طريق الحرب المشروعة بين المسلمين وبين أعدائهم. يعني لو إحنا حاربنا إسرائيل وإسرائيل دي مغتصبة
Israel is plundering land.
بل ومعتدية على
an aggressor against people and their
وعلى
faith.
العقيدة.
By the way, a lot of you probably don't know this, but actually Israel is what it was named long before it was called Palestine.
وطبعا احنا بنتكلم المستحيل. يعني مستحيل ان احنا
impossible to fight Israel.
اليوم اللي نحارب فيه اسرائيل ولو ان سورة الإسراء مبشرة بكده يعني وليس مستحيلا على الله سبحانه وتعالى. فأصل الحرب
The female prisoners of wars are those whom you own.
من النساء هم ملك اليمين بمعنى إن عشان
In order to humiliate them,
بيصبحوا ملكا
they become the property of the army commander or of a Muslim.
للقائد أو للجيش أو للمسلم يستمتع بيهم كما
He can have sex with them, just like he has sex with his wives.
يستمتع بزوجاته. بعض بقى المتنطعين
Some opportunists and extremists who only harm Islam say
متشددين واللي بيسيئوا للإسلام يقول لك أنا أجيب واحدة
I will bring a woman
من
from
شرق
East
آسيا
Asia
تكون ملك يمين
As a slave girl.
وبموافقة زوجتي أخصص لها غرفة وأستمتع بيها.
And I will have sex with her as a slave girl. Anyway, this keeps going. And we're bringing these people in. And we're making believe all cultures are equal. What are we doing? All right? Meanwhile, this is Gaza post quote-unquote genocide. Wow, they really bounced back from the genocide real quick. Anyway, we got to talk about Japan, because Japan is unironically actually one of our real closest allies, unlike England and France, who no longer shares our values almost at all. We have to talk about what's going on here. All right? Look how the radical left news media frames this. All right? So this is Western news. Western news breaking: Japan's ultra-conservative prime minister is set to seize more power after an exit poll that secured her a big majority in the country's lower house. All right? That sounds pretty bad. Wow, that sounds awful. It's fascism. Is Japan getting a Hitler? Is this a female Japanese Hitler? What's going on? That's crazy. That's insane. Anyway, let's look into the stats. All right, let's figure out what's actually going on. That's what's going on. This was her votes. These are her seats. All right, general election, final results. This is what she won. This is not just a majority. This is a super majority. She won 2/3 of the votes. In 2/3 of the votes. And by the way, she is a right-wing, very conservative person. All right? Unbelievable. Correction, she won 36 seats, not 34. Yeah, all right. Anyway, insanity. Kicked ass. Do you know why? Because they imported a couple of Muslims, and they were raping a couple of Japanese people, and then they were like, no, fuck that. And then they elected the most right-wing government in the history of their country, and they're doing mass deportations. Because unlike the West, which is constantly killing ourselves with this suicidal empathy bullshit, these guys are like, no, actually, we need to take care of our country. That's literally it. Prime Minister Takaichi has a majority so large she could amend the Japanese constitution itself. The same constitution the U.S. imposed on Japan during the country's occupation after World War II. The irony, of course, is that many Americans would actually welcome Japan revising its constitution. The world we inhabit today is not the one of 80 years ago. Japan is not America's enemy, and America is not Japan's. Article 9 should be rewritten to allow Japan to fully rearm itself and assure its place, etc., etc. Now, the point is, this is insane. Japan is fucking back in a way that no one ever expected. And of course, the media is the same everywhere. You know, the Japanese media was like, oh my god, guys, it really looks like the leftists are going to win by a massive majority. Right? They did the same thing with Trump in 2024. They were trying the same hoax in Japan. Oh, looks like the right wing is going to get steamrolled by the left. Yeah, anyway, Japan, they won all 30 districts in Tokyo. All right, that would be an equivalent to this. This would be an equivalent in American elections, right? Just to understand what we're dealing with, this would be an American equivalent to the absolute victory that just happened. Oh my god. Holy crap. Japan experienced the richness of diversity for a single election cycle and went full fascism. Incredible. Literally, they became a left-wing government. They imported a bunch of Kurds and different Muslims and Pakistanis, and then they elected the most right-wing government in the history of the country. That's the craziest thing. They're like, no, why should we do this, actually? Why? We don't hate ourselves. We don't need to import these retards. What are we doing? This is crazy. Nux, it's not about the Muslims. It is actually about the Muslims. I have already showed this in a previous video. It is literally the Muslims. I'm not even exaggerating. They hate Muslims because, they take over places, actually. They try to build mosques and force people to do Islamophobia things and ended up showing up, and they harass locals, and they shoot fireworks in places, and they celebrate everything publicly. They do these giant marches. They're really loud. They do the call to prayer thing, and they're like, no, actually, we're not really a fan of this at all. Y'all have to leave. It's pretty insane. It's pretty freaking insane. Takaichi's coalition set to win 2/3 supermajority in Japan. Being a left-winger in Japan seems like hell. These people are coping like crazy. There's no such thing as a left-winger in Japan. Oh my god, but the poor left-wingers in Japan. Yeah, no, there's no such thing. There is no such thing, actually. There's no such thing as a left-winger in Japan. At least not what we in America consider left-wingers, because Japan doesn't actually believe in killing themselves. Well, I mean, the suicide rate's pretty high, but they don't believe in a cultural suicide, actually. Oh, there is a left-winger. That's not true. There's abroad in Japan, and other American and British leftists that go to Japan and then get offended on behalf of these guys. By the way, let's not forget, all right, the Trash Taste Coalition over there with like abroad in Japan and all these like Western British YouTubers that go to Japan, they are crashing out that these guys are this far right. All right, they are crashing out about this, talking about how actually, no, diversity is our greatest strength. They're all making, not all, but they've made a bunch of videos talking about how no, immigration is good, multicultural. So it's just a little bit of graffiti. It's a little bit of graffiti, guys. Why are we so mad? Why are we crashing out? So anyway, they obviously don't care about Japan. Like, this dude made an entire video over here coping like crazy. What is happening to Japan? Talking about how different people are talking about how Japan is actually bad, but Japan is amazing. Japan loves the multiculturalism. That was basically the thesis of this video. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. Also, you don't speak Japanese. Anyway, so Japan has begun the sushification process. All right? If they see you causing trouble, they wrap you up and they send you away. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema! They just wrap them up and they get rid of them. Bye! Goodbye. We don't care. No games. No thank you. They just flipped him to the ground. All right. Flips him to the ground. Sits on him. All right. No protesters. No freaks with whistles. No anti-ice retards throwing bricks at them. This guy should not be here. They set up the tarp on the ground. Look at this, dude. This is the greatest thing of all time. All right. They set up the tarp. All right. They drag him onto the tarp. All right. No illegal Nigerians in Japan. Sorry, bro. Very efficient, honestly. All right. And they wrap him up like a little roll of sushi. The sushification process begins. They wrap him up. There he is. Nice and snug. This is absolute cinema. Everyone's watching. No one's interfering. No one's assaulting them. All right, no one's trying to commit suicide by cop. Ain't nobody want to deal with that smoke. All right, anyway, they wrap him up completely. Enjoy the roll. They bring in the car. Car shows up, and with honor and dignity, all right, this guy is going. He's going. But what about due process? He's an illegal alien from Nigeria. That is the due process. They pick him up and they put him in the back of the car. And that's literally it. Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Oh my God. I love it. But it's inhumane. No. The moderate stance is we have a country, we have borders, we have laws. You come in illegally. We throw you out on a fucking catapult. That's the moderate angle. Okay? Literally. The radical angle is thinking that, no, we should let our people get raped and tortured and pillaged and turn into France. All right? That's the radical angle. So Donald Trump made this tweet. The great country of Japan is having a very important legislative election on Sunday, February 8th, 2026. The results of this election are very important to the future of Japan. Prime Minister Takaichi has already proven to be strong, powerful, wise leader, and one who truly loves her country. I look forward to welcoming Prime Minister Takaichi to the White House on March 19th. In my visit to Japan, I and all of my representatives were extremely impressed with her. Yeah, because they're sushifying people. In addition to national security, the United States and Japan have worked closely together on making a very substantial trade deal. Ooh, I like trade deals. One that strongly benefits both countries. Prime Minister Takaichi is someone who deserves powerful recognition for the job she and her coalition are doing. And therefore, as President of the United States of America, it is my honor to give a complete and total endorsement of her and what her highly respected coalition is representing. Yeah, mass deportations. She will not let the people of Japan down. Good luck on your very important Sunday vote, President Donald J. Trump. And Takaichi responds, I am sincerely grateful to President Donald J. Trump for his warm words. I look forward to visiting the White House this spring to continuing our work together to further strength of the Japan-U.S. alliance. Our alliance and friendship with the United States of America is built on deep trust and close cooperation. The potential of our alliance is limitless. Let us work together to ensure that our alliance continues to bring peace and prosperity to our two nations and beyond. Absolute cinema! This is what we call an ally, by the way. An ally is this. Yes, absolutely. Not like England, not like France, not like Denmark, not like these retards crying, crashing out, yelling and screaming, oh, you're a fascist, oh, we have to make friends with China because all of a sudden you want to... No, absolutely not. An ally is someone that shares our value system. Yes. Japan is funded on a pagan background. America is funded on a biblical background. These are objective facts. But neither of them are funded on this globalist slop background where we have to completely and utterly destroy ourselves for the sake of importing infinite third worlders. And that fundamental difference is what makes, in my opinion, our alliance with Japan closer at this point than our alliance with Europe. All right? This absolute hodgepodge bullshit garbage. Ultimately, Japan bases their morality on religion. Fundamentally, they value traditions and religion, and so does the West. You know, so does the, at least conservative West. Europe doesn't anymore. Quite literally, Europe doesn't anymore. And it's insane. So, of course, we got most normal leftists. Japanese Twitter, look at this cute baby monkey, obsessed with this stuffed animal. Japanese politics, Hitler reelected in landslide for the 7th decade in a row. Now, I love when leftists do this, and I think it's funny. And the reason why I'm going to talk about this is because you don't think because they're electing right-wing people that care about their country that they have the ability to actually live in a super trustworthy society? High trust, low crime, look at this cute baby monkey obsessed with this stuffed animal. Dog, if this was in England, a Nigerian would have already eaten the monkey. Sounds a little racist. Did you know that there are immigrants, illegal aliens in England that murder swans in zoos and eat them? Did you know that? Did you know that's happening? You cannot have, look at this baby monkey, in half of Europe. Oh my God. So they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. You know what I'm saying? So this is my favorite thing about leftists. They just don't believe in reality anymore. Reality is irrelevant to these people. You know, men can become women, women can become men. Right, everything's the same. All humans are equal, and because we're completely and utterly identical, all cultures are equal, all cultures are the same. I'm not racist, I have empathy. All right, the pro-rape leftist party, that's what they all do. All right, the groomers. It's insane. Fuck, why does our birth rate have to keep spiraling? Presses the big red eternal wage slaver being tortured with boiling water button in polling booth. And the reality is, I actually personally am not a fan of a lot of Japanese culture. I personally think that our biblical culture and values based on the Bible are better. Personally, that's what I believe. Then again, I'm American. I'm not Japanese. And, you know, thank God for that. That said, they actually just don't want to die. They literally don't want their culture to die. They have basic traditional values, and apparently that's too much. All right, you're such an idiot, lol. Even the American dude from your neck of the woods has a birth rate that's barely different than Japan's these days. Exposing your ignorance like that is way too embarrassing, lol. And then this guy survives with the shotgun that murdered Shinzo Abe, which is insane. Again, just, you know, leftists in America telling Japanese leftists to stand up and assassinate the prime minister. Isn't that insane? It's unbelievable watching this. This is the gun that Hassan posted to assassinate your local politicians that you don't like. All right? It's absolute incredible watching leftists do this because they're anti-God, anti-people, and have no values whatsoever. You know, Tokyo has nearly as many people as the entire state of California. They were able to count the entire Japanese election in hours. Why does it take California weeks? Fantastic question. Let's ask the Democrats. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. This was a deep dive onto what our country, they're trying to turn our country into. They're trying to turn it into, by importing these guys, to import it into this, and to try to become this. All right? That's what they're trying to do. I prefer our allies being more like this, and they want it to be like this. So I'll take this over this any day of the week. And we are doing this because we don't want this to turn us into this. See you in the next one. Subscribe. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.